Hi, this is Claude again. I'd like to talk with you today about the chief hindrance to the working of the Holy Spirit in the local church. And right away, what illustrates this problem is what ought to be the chief characteristic of the Holy Spirit being manifested in the local church. And that's this. Well, first of all, Jesus said, "By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, by the love that you have one for another." Or I think in Darby it says, for the love that you have amongst yourselves. Okay. It ought to be something that an outsider coming into the fellowship of the church, maybe an unbeliever, ought to be able to figure out, boy, there's something different about this place, that there is a spirit there, a spirit of acceptance and a spirit of love. Now, you need to understand that there's a spirit over a community. There's a spirit over a nation. In fact, it's said that America is ruled by a spirit of Jezebel. And Jezebel the spirit of Jezebel wants to control everything and everybody. So with a local church, it manifests a certain spirit. And it really ought to be a spirit of love. And more than that, what kind of love? It's the love of God which has been shed abroad in our hearts. And that love, on the one hand, it's strong, but it can be very fragile. It can take just a crossword between two people. And at least between those two people, the love of God is not flowing. Now, what happens within a given congregation if you have the leaders, actually maybe some deacons, getting crosswise with people? A Sunday school teacher gets offended by a given thing. Maybe she's asked or he's asked for a piece of equipment and couldn't get it, and thinks, well, everybody else is getting what they asked for, and here it is, I can't. And actually, I have heard of a local church getting divided over selection of color carpet or carpet color. Okay? Now you think, how can this be? But it is. And I think the manifestation of so many different types of local churches as we have stems in large measure because people have had differences. A local church pastor, take an assistant pastor. Maybe he didn't like the way something's done, or he'd like to do it different. So he leaves, and this is particularly so amongst Baptists. Because of their church structure, he leaves and takes a number of people with him. I saw this happen in Thomaston with the largest Baptist church there, and the fellow who was an assistant, he leaves and takes a whole bunch of folks with him. Now, how is it that a stranger coming into the midst of the parent church is going to find the love of God? They may have to search for it a little bit because maybe there's a bunch of woundedness there. And I would say to people who are part of a church that's broken off of another church because of following after a charismatic leader, watch out, because a church that's born in rebellion carries the seeds of rebellion. And so after a matter of time in the church that has divided from the original parent church will suffer division itself. So it's just born into it. So what is the chief thing that hinders the operation of the Holy Spirit in the local church? It's the lack of the chief thing that ought to be the manifestation of the Holy Spirit in the church, love for one another. May the Lord help us to love one another as we ought. Amen.